So can you see my screen? That's good. Thank you very much. Thanks for the thumbs up. Love it. At the beginning of the presentation, you just need people to be all charged. So because I think I can even recognize your faces and your names from the first session, so I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time refreshing, because that will leave us more time to go through the practice portion of it. So if you're interested, the introduction that's made by Sam of this project, which basically is to how we can better communicate with your stakeholder groups, and my introduction and the focus for this project are all in the previous deck that you already have. And the focus is, at least based on my assessment, I think it's not going to be a problem for you to increase your giving by about 10%. In the short, medium, and long term, really. And you don't have to change too much to achieve that goal. And I hope, even though we're going to share more information today, you are not tempted to go ahead and do too many things in one go in the coming few weeks. I would still recommend that you take the one word, one sentence approach until when you feel like you've got your footing on how to do the one word and the one sentence right before you run faster than the basic walking building blocks. So the survey results can be found, and it's the same key 3 points that we will reinforce today, which is in all communications moving forward, to whatever degree possible, you want to reinforce your supporters' sense of who they are. You want to build the kind of love that is important to them, and you want to make the sacrifice of giving feel intensely good for them. So I need someone to mute their speaker. Okay, awesome. And then by intensely good, I don't mean just pleasant. I mean these words that people use to describe their sense of who they are. But we have 2 deep diving sessions together. Today is our first deep dive session. So in our session today, we're going to talk about the first point and the second point. And then in our next session, we'll go much deeper in how to transition the sacrifice into the goodness. So today, we'll focus more on these identities, affirm your supporters' sense of identity of who they are. And that means sometimes you will need to trade this off with what you currently use to talk about who focus is. So that is something that you need to reflect on the degree to which you feel comfortable embarking on. So it's a journey that you need to take measured steps. It's not something that you want to just jump into. And then when we talk about build the love that is important to your supporters, as we shared, depending on whether it's donors or it's mission partners, the particular kind of connectivity might be different. So in each copy, you might build the connection slightly differently. But today, we're going to talk about how you build connection overall, just as a basic skill. And then later on, when you apply this skill into each specific communications, you can then tailor to whether this communication is building connectedness to focus, to missionaries, to God, to campus ministry, or for local parish. Today, we only talk about how to build connection. And we will talk about this within the structure of choosing one person to write to, choose one connection to build, and choose one action to ask in each copy. And whenever you feel like whatever you need to say, that is already included in this logo, Fellowship of Catholic University Students, anything that can be said by your logo, you don't need to say in your copy unless you can add meaning to what fellowship means, what university students you are referring to. And we will do these 3 steps as ways for us to apply affirming your donor sense of self and building the love that is important to them. before I go into the 3 steps with a lot of examples and exercises, any questions now before I progress?
No.
All right, cool. So we're going to start with step 1, which is to choose one person to write to. And I really want you to get the idea of what this one person means. So one of the most established psychological facts about our human brain is our working memory capacity is only 7 plus minus 2 chunks of information in any given moment. And some of these chunks of information will be possessed by what we see, that's the input, and what we do, that's the output, our hand. So really what is left in our mind is between 3 to 4 chunks of information. So by the time you think about who am I talking to, about what, and how I'm going to say it, your working memory capacity is completely full. Okay, you can't take more than that in any given moment. That is why in order to create the best copy, you have to make sure you maximize the degree to which your working memory capacity is applied to the most important thing or things that you need to focus on. So the first thing that is the most important thing is whenever you write anything, there needs to be one person that you have in mind that you write to. You don't necessarily have a physical picture of this person in mind, but you need to have a mental picture of this person. You need to know how this person looks, how this person feels, how this person smells, what this person likes, how you can talk to this person face to face as a friend. It could be these people that you're writing to, but based on all the pictures I've seen from all your communications that you shared with me, you want your people to be face to face with these faces as often as possible. I actually go through all the material you send to me. Very rarely I see faces that are not university students. The only faces that I see that are not university students are your leadership group. And we know that your donors share demographics of your leadership group in families and female donors too. So when the first impression when they get from you to them, if they were to read page by page just by looking at photos, their reaction is, this is not me, this might be my children. This is not me, this might be my children. This is not me, this might be my children. So unless you can be sure that these photos are reflective of at least their children, then they can't see themselves from anything that you send out. Does that make sense to everybody? So that kind of instant connection needs to be built within seconds, because that is the only amount of information we can keep in mind as humans, whether you're the writer or the reader. So when you write about anything, you will have to be in your mind, the reader, and to say, okay, the first second my reader land on my page, what is this person gonna see? Often the person is gonna see a picture that draw their attention to, a face. And the first thing they ask themselves about this face is not, what is this face saying to me, but is that me? Can I see myself? Can I see connection from the faces I see? So think about the one person that you want to read anything you send out. And it might be different depending on what communication that you have. Any questions?
Yeah, Jen, just to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, you're not suggesting one picture or another. You're just saying with whatever group or whoever the reader is that we're making the profile for, the images that we would want to use would not be that they would identify with personally as self, not as like a so I'm going back to your old slide where, mother, father, so
Husband and wife.
husband and wife. So you'd use pictures that are identifying them as mother, but doing
If you use son and daughters, they need to be called son and daughter, so their mother and father identity is activated.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, the minute they read son and daughter, they think themselves as a mother and father. The minute they read college student, they have to translate it. College student, oh, my children are college student, and hence I can relate to the college student. So you're adding that one step in their working memory capacity that they have to translate for themselves.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
Tim, were you saying also too that they should see themselves a picture they can identify with versus a picture of the mission that they're supporting, like the college students?
Right, that's what I was going to ask.
If possible, in some communications, they should be able to see themselves, yes. And this is particularly useful, especially in bequest asks. They see other donors who have left bequest, and they can see from the donors' families, from the donors' couples, from the donors' testimonial. It's like their reaction has to be, oh yeah, that's me.
So Jen, if we're addressing benefactors, you want to try to show an image of a benefactor sitting with a college student
Absolutely.
in accompaniment, showing them smiling, happy, I am helping support what you are doing.
Absolutely. In any, like, if possible, with eye contact, you can see the love between them. You understand their story. Absolutely.
So again, it's not so much just showing who they are supporting in their realm, so college students kind of doing their thing, but you want to actually show, you want to have a stronger connection and identifier with the person so that they can see themselves doing what that person in the image is doing, supporting, being there
Absolutely.
with somebody supporting them.
Absolutely. Because they have to get there in order to give anyway. The more steps you can help them shortcut in your communication to them, the closer you're getting them to the action.
And then, of course, the image should try to reflect the words that we've identified as being strong.
Absolutely.
Compassionate, caring, supporter, mother,
Absolutely.
father. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions, reflections? John, you are saying things, but we can't hear you. Are you okay? Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so for the purpose of exercise, I hope you all recognize it. This is the picture that you use in the 29th prayer day email. This is somebody, I'm guessing, you want to see on the 29th of April to participate in your activity. And this might not be what you can personally see. You might have a friend, or you might know people who you would like to see to come to this event and to experience what this lady is experiencing in this photo. It is not important that you imagine this lady specifically, but it is important that you have one person in mind who is just like her that you want to see on the 29th, which means you want this person to receive the email and click on that save the date button until the point where that date is marked on her calendar. That's what you need for that email to do. Marked on the calendar for someone like this, okay? So for you to be able to really get into this, I want you to think about one person that you know that you want to see on the 29th. Just take 30 seconds. I will stop talking. You think about one person you want to see. Okay, if you've got the person, raise your hand, give me a thumbs up so I can see that you've got, okay, okay, so everybody has a person in their mind. Okay, good. That's what I would do too, Sam. Okay, so for that specific person, can you pick 3 words to describe that person for me from this list?
From the self words or the supported words?
Ideally from the self words, if possible. You think is the best characteristic of this person that you feel like, guess what, 100% I can use this word to describe this person. Okay, so once you've got those 3 words in mind, I want you to try to change the first sentence in this email. What word would you add in there and where would you add it? Once you've got your suggestion, can you type where you want to add the word into the chat box? You only need to chat the part enough for us to know where you add the word. You don't have to type the whole thing. Yeah, well done. You can add adjectives. Faithful supporters. Yeah, absolutely. Any other options? Yeah, loyal. Good. Any other options? Caring family. Yeah, absolutely. Committed. Yeah, absolutely. So what I would like you to get from this exercise is that everybody is going to have a different person in mind. And not everybody is going to choose the same word, and not everybody is going to choose the same place in a sentence. And it really doesn't matter in your rollout. There's no right or wrong answers as long as you begin to think in this way and begin to communicate with your donors in a way that they can see themselves in what you write. And everybody's friends will be different, and everybody's favorite words will be different. And that actually is a good thing. Like if all of you are writing slightly different words, but all from the same list with your own authentic friend, everybody will be able to allow the supporters to come out a little bit more in your own writing. Does that make sense? So this is not about following a formula that everybody has to say the same thing. Any questions, reflections before we move on from this exercise?
So you're saying we just need to insert a few words here, but will there be times where, you know, we just need to rework this entire paragraph because it doesn't sound like we're talking to that one person?
Absolutely. I mean, you will get there, but don't do it next week because that's too much work. So be happy with changing one word at a time, and then eventually change sentences and paragraphs. I will show you more examples of changing sentences and paragraphs, but you can't get there too fast. And I can't emphasize this enough. Like if organizations try to get this done in the next 2 weeks, they're going to break and they're not going to be able to sustain this. The kind of organization who eventually can penetrate everything they write with this are the organization take the long-term view that they roll this out in 6 months to 12 months kind of timeline, not 2 weeks. All right. Okay, so we know all how to change the word. That's brilliant. And we all recognize that it's possible that the whole thing needs to be rewritten, but don't quite go there for now. Now, the next part of the exercise will be slightly uncomfortable for whoever who is volunteering, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyway. So I want you to think about that one person that you have in mind. And I would need one volunteer to just tell us a few things about what made you choose the words that you chose for that person. As concrete a description as possible. Help us to see the person in the few sentences that you say to us about that person, and allow us to feel the word, whether it's caring or the loving or the compassionate or the loyal, whatever word that you want to reflect in this person. Give us that one memory that you have of the person that allow you to say that word for him or her. I'll give you a minute to first think about it, and then I'll ask for a volunteer. So I have got my timer on so you can think about it. You can choose any word that you want to choose, and you can choose any memory you want to choose. The only requirement is when you do share it, we can see it. We can see your person.
Can't use 3 words. It's got to be one.
Choose one, yeah, just one word. Oh, you've got one, Paul? Go for it then.
Shouldn't have stuck my thumb up. I'm thinking of Marge from San Diego, and just the conversation we had. Caring is what comes to mind. Just her warmth, her questions, her eagerness just to learn about Focus and what we do and how the mission works. And it led to her making a very generous gift for what she's able to do. And just the relationship that's continued. So I haven't even met her before, but I can just see her glow in her warm, caring face.
Beautiful. Can we see the warm glowing face and why? Okay, awesome, great. So keep that person in mind, and it's probably not going to be this person specifically, but the question I want to ask you is, would Marge, is that her name, Marge? Would Marge feel comfortable for you to say, instead of a life changed by Jesus, my life is changed by Jesus? Do you think that caring Marge would allow herself to be exposed like this and to build direct connections as a first person with the reader?
I think so.
Beautiful. So whenever you can find individuals like that, allow them to speak in first person to the audience. So you take your intermediary narrative out of the conversation. It's not like you mediating Marge between the reader, you paraphrasing a life changed by Jesus. It's Marge saying, yeah, my life is changed by my Jesus, if that's what she feels comfortable. But when you do that though, you immediately are connecting the two ladies, or the lady and the guy reading, because they are speaking first person. You are not rephrasing it. Does it make sense? Is that something that you think you might feel comfortable enough to put into formal communications like this one?
I sure hope so.
So Jen, just to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So we have the profile of Marge, and because she's faithful or caring, we're not changing this story here. We're just trying to have her connect her story, and so we're letting her first read it by saying my life changed, and that's going to connect her to her testimony, her experience with Jesus as she reads the work of what happened here.
Absolutely. And then like Paul said, caring just glow out of Margie's face, right? So when she speaks in first person, that caring is going to radiate. So people will feel that they're talking to a caring person. And because they are also caring themselves, they see themselves in Marge.
This is John. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm having trouble connecting what Paul had previously talked about with Marge and how Marge is caring, and then this particular slide. I mean, it would seem that if we were to change it from a life change to my life change, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, it makes it first person. It's a small adjustment. What I'm having trouble connecting is how what Paul had in mind for Marge has any impact on this. It seems like the caring piece and the my life, because I could have chosen generous, and it still seems like my life changed by Jesus would have been the right way to go, whether it was caring, generous, loving. So does that make sense? What I'm trying to figure out is the connection between the exercise we just did and this. They seem disconnected, both good things, but disconnected from one another.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a very good point. The difference between Paul having a Marge in his head versus not having a Marge in his head when he made that change, my life is changed, is how authentically he can write it. If he only do my life is changed by Jesus because he thinks it's the right thing to do, it will sound like it's the right thing to do. But if he does it because he knows Marge and he kept Marge in his heart when he writes, then whatever he writes is going to make people feel like Marge, not it should be Marge. Does it make sense?
Okay. It does make sense. I'm having
let's go through
go ahead, go through more. Yeah, please.
Yeah, go through a few more examples because it takes time for this to sink in. So even you've seen it from the first exercise that other things could have been changed here. Marge could have been brought into the picture in some way. I'm not going to ask you to do more things because you already got there. Like, yeah, other things can be changed in this email. Agreed?
Yes, can I ask one quick question pragmatically so I understand this? The rank we have on this what else might change on the self words and supported words, those aren't necessarily supposed to line up with one another. It's just the rank on the self, number 1, we like caring, down to 20 Christian, and then on the right, supportive is the number 1 support, like our supporters like that word the best. So it's not as if we replace caring or we replace caring with supportive. That's not the point. It's just the ranking of them. Okay, just want to make sure.
So the self words are the words people use to describe themselves as a person in general, anywhere they are, whatever they do, versus supporter words that are people use to describe themselves only when they think about themselves as a focused supporter. So actually the self words are more deeply reflective of who these people are. So whenever possible, if you can, substitute the word that you would ordinarily use on the right with the words that are now on the left is the best way to go.
And just to clarify, so if the word I was going to use was supportive, number 1 on the right, are you suggesting it's a direct replacement with caring? So these are actually lined up with one another, or I'm using supportive, that's what I would want to use, but then I look on the left and I'm thinking of Marge and I'm like, what is actually a better, it might not be caring, maybe it's loyal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the right way to use it. Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
And ideally, I want to try and get up as high on the ranking as I can. If thoughtful works, but kind works, go with kind.
Absolutely. And that's also another way to explain why it's important to have Marge in it. because for these things to come out authentic, you have to believe it and you have to feel it. And if you know that Marge can only be described by caring, kind, and faithful, if you were going to write about Marge, those are the only words you should be using. You shouldn't be substituting honest with kind just because it's higher if that doesn't describe Marge, because then you lose authenticity. And people taste writing. They don't analyze writing. Like if you come off fake, they will know. So it's very, very important you write with the real person from the heart and choose the word that can actually describe the person.
That makes sense. I'm going to ask a question that you're probably going to answer later, but I'll put it here as I'm just wrestling with this. Is great. We wrote this with Marge in mind. We put Marge ourself into it, and Marge is caring, kind, and faithful. And so we did that, and it's seeping with reality and authentic, an authentic approach. However, there's only 3 Marges out of 100 that got this, and the other 97 are Fred's. And Fred is not caring, kind, and faithful. Fred's thoughtful and he's empathetic. So that's I guess the disconnect that I'm trying to figure out is like, yes, it makes sense if I'm writing an individual letter to Marge, absolutely. But a lot of what we do is going to be writing letters that are going to go to thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. So if I'm not Marge,
yeah,
how does that work? So you may be answering that later. Maybe you answered that the first call and I forgot.
Well, these are the highest frequency words used by all your supporters. That's why they're safe words to use. So just because you have Marge in mind doesn't mean you are only talking about Marge, kindness, caring, and loyalty. Kindness, caring, and loyalty are something that Fred can relate to and Stephen can relate to too, because that's the highest frequency words.
Can I ask
Sure.
a follow-up question too, Jen?
Yeah.
So my follow-up question would be, this is also Paul's idea of how he sees Marge, but Marge can actually see herself as generous and loyal, but Paul saw her as caring, kind, and faithful. So if we substituted any of these words, Marge could still see herself, because really in the exercise, Paul gave you what he saw Marge as. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then because you are writers and you can never be the person that is the most authentic you can ever be. You will not sound like first person. Only Marge can sound like her. All you can do is the best of you talking as a friend of Marge. And if copywriting can sound like a friend of Marge, you are already way, way, way ahead than most nonprofits out there. Any other questions, reflections? Okay, all right, so we're gonna move along. Now I would like you to keep the person unless you want to switch to a different person. So that would be fine, because we're gonna switch to a different set of materials. So if you want to try somebody else, just to give yourself another opportunity to fit it into the exercise, you have 30 seconds to try to switch it into somebody else now. Switch a gender, switch the age, switch the program, switch the kind of thing you will talk to them about. Just think about somebody else. All right, so now for that somebody else, if you want to change how the title is written, what would you change here? And you can type into the chat box with your answers. And remember, when you need supporters to see themselves, you might have to take focus out, but that is not a loss for you because focus is in the logo. It's everywhere in this communication. You don't have to keep focus them. Not sold on this, but maybe compassionately building up. Absolutely. 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 Beautiful. Yep. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Brilliant. That's exactly the way to think about it. That is how you need to begin to penetrate the writing. And as you can see, everything will be changed, and you're already doing the second part of this exercise anyway. So yeah, you can change this sentence with exactly the same thing which Sam did. And then just really, here's just an example: men and women, many in their 20s with families of their own. So you talk a little bit more about who these people are, so that people can, the readers can see this, visualize these people as easily as they can before you get to the tagline, so that when they do read your tagline, then connect with as parents who's got sons and daughters that you're caring for. So you're all getting it. I'm not going to dwell any longer on step 1 unless anybody have any questions on step 1.
Should we be also just considering removing words that are just arbitrary or don't resonate? So you're really, so instead of saying, you know, we're offering unique training to our missionaries, we're offering faithful training to our missionaries. Is that the?
Absolutely. And then, like, whenever possible, jargons should all be removed. So if it's 180 locations, if it is easier to say cities, towns, villages, say cities, towns, and villages, because then it's easier for people to visualize. Yeah, so whenever you can reduce the reading level, that is a good thing, and the length of the words. Any other questions before we move on to step 2? Which is about building connections. Okay, we all have a sense of how to affirm people's identity now, yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so step number 2 is choose one connection to build. And we always need to keep in mind how small our working memory capacity is. So when we look at all these people, when we choose one of them, and when we write, we can only worry about one purpose at a time. So if we worry about, will my writing be signed off? We can't simultaneously worry about, can I help these 2 people connect, whether it's these 2 people, or the reader or the writer or whoever the other 2 people are. Our working memory capacity simply does not allow us to do both sets of the checking simultaneously. So in order to focus on building the connection and affirming the identities, when you write, you can only worry about this. After you finish writing, then worry about other things. But don't keep coming back and check whether you can get approval when you try to build the connection, because you can't build the best connection that way. And as a consequence, you're less likely to get approved anyway, right? So when you build a connection, just allow your authentic self to come out, to think about the one person, the one friend, your language, and allow that to come out and give it your 100% concentration, and then worry about the rest. Any questions before I get into the exercise portion of it?
You're saying like our own internal process of approving copy, that's the will my writing be signed off on?
Or yourself, you know, does this not sound corporate enough? Does this not sound formal enough? Like when you try to build connections, you can't afford to have all the other checkboxes in your own head, because you're just not going to get the connections. Once you get to the connections, once you know what you want to say, you can then come back and get the formality right. But don't let the formality stop you from getting the core of the identity and the connection right first.
Like, don't edit your writing while you're writing.
Absolutely. Any other questions before we get into the exercise? Okay, so for the next exercise, I would like you to picture someone who is your donor. This is someone who might want to give you a gift, get matched over Easter. And one way you can imagine these people is by reading their quotes. And these are quotes that we coded from your survey responses that are representative of the highest frequency emotional intensity that people experience. Okay, so I'll show the quotes to you so you can begin now to think about someone specifically that you know who can comfortably say these things. Okay, so now you have a sense of the kind of person I'm asking you to imagine. Can you think of someone that you know who can comfortably say these things to you, that you feel like you can authentically describe them using the adjectives that we have? 30 seconds. Think about that one person. Give me a thumbs up when you've got the person in mind, or a smile. Awesome. Great. Morgan, awesome. A smile, that's good. Okay. So now what I want you to think about, if you were going to introduce Thun Li to this person, what do you think is the first thing that this person want to know about Thun Li? Is that the first sentence now in the email? So what do you think is the first sentence that this person want to know about Thun Li? Can you type that first introduction sentence? It doesn't have to be as long, just whatever you think this person want to know about Thun Li.
Are we still trying to use the self words?
No, not right now. Just anything you think this person want to know. If you can work those words in, great. If not, don't worry about it for now.
Jen, I'm lost in the exercise. What was the profile I was supposed to be thinking of before you showed us the slide? One of my supporters?
Yeah, who can easily say the quotes that I shared with you, like my children lost their faith, nobody was there for them. So you're basically writing to a mother.
And I'm describing,
Lei.
Okay.
Yeah, so you are trying to build a connection between Lei and the mother. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting that you all chose to put the name a bit earlier into the sentence too, because it's the person that need to be connected. Absolutely. It's about a friend. It's about friend. It's about courage. It's about courage. So it's not about necessarily where he is, but who he is. So it could be Lei is one of the most loyal friends of my daughter. He saved her faith. That could be what really the mother need to hear. The mother need to hear that's what you're giving their children. So at the moment, what this document is writing about is what Lei does, not who Lei is. Absolutely. Lei is friends with my son and walks with him in the Catholic faith. Absolutely. So you can't authentically write that sentence without knowing somebody like that. So it doesn't have to be Lei. It can be anybody else when you're writing about Lei, but you just need to have someone authentic that you can think about. And it is about the difference that he makes in the lives of our own children. And that's exactly what you said, John. It's about who Lei is to the people that we care about. So the connection that you need to build in that email is between Lei, my daughter, or my son, and me. Anything else that gets in the way of allowing people to feel that connection need to come out. Questions before I move on to the next example?
Loud and clear.
I guess
Okay.
my question, Jen, is in terms. So this appeal is clearly an appeal specifically about the digital outreach, et cetera. I don't think what you're suggesting is that we don't make it about digital outreach anymore. If that's the thing that we're trying to kind of emphasize that we think is going to be a hook. So in some way, at some point, I'm guessing we do talk about a little bit of the what. It's just we're going to lead with the identity. We're going to lead with who, rather than leading with the what. And then, actually, I don't think probably. I mean, he was a varsity wrestler, so whatever. He at some point we get a little bit of his identity. But what you're suggesting is lead with that, even if we still end up talking about the what.
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely. The minute that people fell in love with Lei, immediately tell him he's part of your digital team, right? Because then that love gets transferred into your entire digital team.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
The detail of varsity wrestler, though, based on everything that you showed us about how our supporters identify, it's just a detail that's not needed. It's not going to help anybody identify with our work or Lei. Okay.
Absolutely. Anything that doesn't have to be there, come out. But you will have the opportunity in the next exercise, because I'm going to ask you, who do you see in this email and what connections do you see? And then you can decide what to stay in and what to come out. But the first thing I would like you to do, literally word to word, is who do you see? Who is the we? Who do you think people need to think about when they read the word we? Is that focus as an organization? Is it you and your friends? Is it their sons and daughters prayer group? Like when people read, they need to attach, right? They need to be drawn to it. In order to do that, something has to draw them, or someone has to draw them. So who is in here? Just go ahead and start to type in the chat box. Who do you think is in the current email? And what connections do you think is being built between whom and whom? So how do you think that can fit into the 5 to 9 working times that we have then, John?
I think we're as vague as we could possibly be.
Yeah, something has to be said, yeah. Okay, all right. I think you've all got the point. Let's try a rewrite. Are we kind of putting it within the 5 to 9 now?
All right. Looks like we found a writer for our emails.
It's gonna be you guys. Because you're the ones who know your friends. All right, so we need to put them in there, but the next exercise will be very, very individually personal to you guys. And I'm sure you are the best writers of this one. And because Morgan, I've embarrassed you once already in the last presentation, I'm gonna choose 3 other people's personal pages to put up next. Okay, so first of all, it's gonna be John's. Sorry, John, you are now sacrificing for your team. Where I serve, that's a place. And it's beautiful that John decided, I'm not gonna talk about where. Thank goodness for that. I'm gonna talk about Barbara and I, because that's my wife, I'm a husband, our family join the focus. That's what the first point of contact that you created for people. And when you tell your story, it's about your family, an amazing Catholic home. Not to be demeaning in any way, John. If people don't know you, this sentence, and this sentence, plus the 3 titles are the only thing they will ever read. Okay, so whatever you say about yourself in those 3 sentences will be what people know about you. Barbara and I, they know you as a husband and a wife and as a family who joined in 1999, who showed almost 30 years of commitment to this ministry. That's what they see from sentence 1. Sentence 2, this is not just a 1 generation thing. This is a multi-generation thing that you are building trust with people. It's like, I'm not only trusting Barbara and John now, I'm trusting the amazing Catholic home that they come from. And if that's the only thing they get about you, John, they would have liked focus more already. Are you with me?
I am with you. I'm just waiting for your rewrite.
No, I'm not gonna rewrite your where.
Darn, I thought it was part of the exercise.
the part of the exercise is, unfortunately, you, together with your colleague Paul and your colleague Sam, decided that none of you are going to waste any time to talk to your donors. These paragraphs, they sound exactly the same, okay? And if the only thing people read about you three and they come to the one sentence under your impact, the message you are sending to them is, man, these people do not care about the money I give them. Because they can't be bothered to write their own words for my impact. Have I been too harsh?
I would like to
No, that's
offer,
accurate.
I've never been a missionary and I didn't know Focus before I worked for Focus. And I have seen many missionary support pages with the same paragraph for your impact. So I don't know if that was instructive or if it was Focus's way of helping missionaries to make the pitch to have rewritten it. But I would like to offer up that as an outsider formerly, I did notice that most people kept that paragraph exactly the same on their page.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
part
we
of
wrote
it.
we wrote a draft that would work for everybody if they were lazy and didn't do it themselves, basically.
So think about
Mark,
how, sorry.
because this is really old.
No, you're not being too harsh, Jen. A few of us are very direct people, so you're talking my language here. I like it. I'm editing my page right now.
I hate
Well,
to say
so-
it, Sam, but you're old too now.
So think about how you would feel if you want your sponsors to say, can you go out and find me more donors? Just send them to my page. And they found some other people and they sent them to your page. Who do you want what do you want their friends to feel when they come to your page? Like for now, just think about one specific person who has been giving to you, like you are most grateful for, just one person. Write to that one person and make that one person feel thanked. And type in the chat box the title you would like to use for this section and anywhere between 1 to 3 sentences of what you want to write to them. And for anybody who is not a missionary, you don't have to do this. Help your missionary friends out. To think what title you would like to suggest for them and what are the first 3 sentences. I'll set the timer for a minute and I will be right back. It's a minute up and I can't see any answers. So you have 1 more minute. We're not going to move on until when I can see how you thank people. So I'm trusting you're all still writing, not hiding away behind your screen. If you have only one title for your impact and only one sentence, I'll settle for that. So we can finish the rest of the program. We do have some more material to go through. Oh, well done, Sarah. Okay, oh, beautiful. Ingratitude. Truly, without the loving, sacrificing support of so many friends, this, oh, you put tears in my head already. That is so beautiful. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Oh my goodness. See, you all write better than me because you all have deeper heart to draw from. You are the missionaries who have lived this life for 20, 30 years. So whatever thank you can write, nobody can replace. And that's the voice we need to find in all your communications, online, in letters, in print, and everything. Just speak out of your heart, and that would be what you need. At the moment, the only thing you have too much of in your communications are distractions. So the minute you drop all distractions to the raw heart that you all share so well in your missions, that's when your fundraising can take off. Good. Thank you so much for all your examples. I can totally see how you can just transform all your pages now. So now, step number 3, choose one action to ask. Okay, so no matter how good we are, no matter how deeply we can connect with people with the 3 sentences that we have got, or 3 seconds of their attention that they are willing to give us, the best and the most successful way that we can ever get anybody to an action is to ask for only one. Okay, ask for only one action. And then every single word in that communication lead to that one option, lead to that one action. No more, if you can't do this, do that, you can't do that, do that, you can't. No, You don't want safety nets. Safety nets means you haven't got the identity, you haven't got connection, you don't know you can get a yes to that one action you actually need. Don't give yourself safety nets. Just go after the one thing you want them to do, and no, they can't have more than 3 seconds for you. So don't expect any more than the 3 seconds of 3 things that they can keep in mind when they decide a yes for your action. So we've seen examples where in one example, the action is save the date. If save the date is all that you need them to do, don't tell them that they need to then give once they come to the date, right? Because all that you need is you need them to come to the prayer on that day first. If they don't come, nothing else is gonna matter. So that should be the only thing that you talk about. If instead you say you want them to give money for that day, you don't want them to save the date, then have another email about giving to support that day for whoever is coming. But choose one thing to ask in the 3 seconds you have with people. It can be save the date. It can be double my gift. It can only also just be allow people to feel appreciated for 3 seconds. Nothing else. When you want them to feel appreciated, you don't have to ask them for the next gift. Allow them to soak into that appreciation for the sake of being appreciated. Nothing else, pure and simple. So when I talk about ask for just one action, it could be one action that they can do, or it could be a feeling that they can have. And all these 3 things need to be in the same communication from the first word, the subject line, or the title, or my impact, no, ingratitude, yes. So it needs to be up and front. It can't be buried in the middle of a paragraph and buried in the end of a bolded sentence. The first second you make contact, that need to stick. 2010, my daughter's most loyal friend. He saved her faith. That's your 1 second of attention for people. That is what needs to be said in the first sentence. But just so that eventually, after you get over your own not editing, you do have to come to the reality that you will have to get approved. So the last example I'm going to show you is what Curtis wants. Okay. So this is a letter that has to be signed by Curtis. So you can't make him sign anything that is not from his heart. That's the whole principle that we've been talking about today, right? Everybody can only sign things that comes from their heart. That is the only way that they can feel authentic. So now I will blow this copy up a little for you on the next page so you can read it better. But when you read that, I want you to think about in this letter, in this format, we are only going to look at the first 1.5 pages, paragraphs here, but you can see this is the overall structure of that one letter. So this letter altogether is only this long. Here is Curtis looking right into your face. So I want you to go through this and summarize for me. What do you see? What connections do you see? And I want you to tell me what is the one action or one feeling that Curtis is actually asking of people in this letter. You might say, oh, but Curtis is not asking people to do anything. No, say one feeling. Like when people read this letter, does Curtis want people to feel like he is appreciative? Or he's grateful, or he's caring, or he's kind? Like, what do you want people to feel after people read these words from Curtis? I'm sorry, this is not as high def as I would like it to be, but hopefully you can still see it. And I would like you to answer the questions in the chat box for me once you feel like you're ready. Good. Focus is good to go. Okay, now Sam, anybody else? Give me 2, 3 alternatives. Come on. So if you translate that into the reader's feelings, you want the readers to feel excited and potentially a little bit more adventurous. Is that how you want them to feel, Sam?
You're muted.
I was reflecting on what it was communicating, not what maybe I would want it to communicate.
Okay, okay. Focus is good to go. Focus is amazing. Focus has and will adapt to changing times. Beautiful, beautiful. So if it's all about focus, now give me the connection. How do you want people to feel about focus? Oh, focus amazing. Do you want them to feel in awe, or you want them to feel excited and ready to join you for something? How would you like them to feel?
I mean, this, I'm getting your points. Like, wow, we need to rewrite this because I don't think it was written with any of those things in mind. It's very much focus centric on just building confidence, which maybe there's a place for that, but how does it identify with the who? I think we would need to.
Okay, confidence. Confident is what you want them to feel. So then you need to think about how to build confidence. But confidence is still about confidence in you. What you want is connection. Think about the words: kind, caring, loyal, compassionate, hardworking. They're all relational feelings. There we go. How much we appreciate what he has done to make this possible. Absolutely. Thank them. Make them feel good. Make them feel appreciated. So if we go with what Paul and Andrew have got here, your next task is to tell me, you can say the whole thing can be deleted, but that's not the point of the exercise, right? So tell me what you can delete from here that is not going to take away the appreciation. You don't have to fix the sentences now to make them better. Just tell me what you can safely delete without reducing the degree to which they feel appreciated. The second sentence, first paragraph. Yeah, beautiful. Third. The first, yes, okay. Anybody else?
Do the whole second paragraph. I'm learning.
So, okay, you've all got my point, and here is the possibility.
Jen, I think one of the things I notice in our examples, our writing, what we do at Focus, is that we repeat ourselves a lot. So if you go back to the other paragraph, we talk about the pandemic, and then we say, and this is what happened over the past months, and then this is what was occurring. And it's like, yeah, we all know. I think you just have to state it once and then move on.
Absolutely. So the density will look more like this: a single sentence, a single sentence, a single sentence, and potentially slightly longer, but then go back to single sentence. And if gratitude is what you focus on, obviously you can rewrite this and make it more about your leadership and by God's grace, thank you. But the beginning portion of every sentence then need to be about gratitude. So this is just an example to show you if gratitude is what need to come out. And if that need to come from Curtis's heart, that it is important to him, then the specific things that you want to say can be said. It's just, it need to be said with the goal that eventually people need to feel that you are grateful for them. So here are the take homes. Basically, for every piece of writing you do, you choose these 3 things. Remember not to repeat anything that your logo can already say. And when you write, make sure you write with all those right questions in mind, and don't worry so much about whether you can get through the approval line. And then distill the essence of the connection. So exactly what Curtis wanted the reader to feel in that particular sense. That's the last slide. We've got 7 minutes. Feel free to ask away any thoughts or reflections you have.
So, yeah, question for you, Jen, on that last one. I think it's a good example and something that I'm kind of wrestling with. Of course, much of our communication is not specifically to benefactors. So, you know, we might have to write a letter to a pastor which has 4 or 5 items in it because it's a business relationship. We need to clarify these things or whatever. This last letter is a bit of a blend. It's not writing to a supporter. It's writing to the bishop who supports our work, but we need their support. So there's like there were multiple things going on there in that letter. It's not directly asking for financial support, but it is certainly trying to deepen that connection so that they continue to allow us to support, to serve within their diocese. So I guess my question is, I think the principles we're talking about could apply to all of our communications, but to greater and lesser degrees. You know, so I guess your thoughts on how we do that, because there are going to be some communications which are definitely much more boom, 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 or whatever. We have to tell a chaplain, formalize a chaplain, that we're not going to serve there anymore because you did some bad stuff, you know, whatever. So I guess I'm just trying to wrestle with, like, how do we incorporate this and how do we decide what and what not to include?
Yeah, so be as specific as you can be on that one action. So if like you correctly pointed out, Curtis's letter has 2 purposes in it. One is to thank people, one is to ask for continuous support. If I were in your situation, I'll send 2 separate letters. One just to thank them and make them feel really, really extremely good and nothing but pure goodness. 3 weeks later, follow up with the ask. So it is about, I mean, eventually when this approach is penetrated into your communication, that's why it takes 6 to 12 months, because it does not only require you to change what you say in one communication, it requires you to change your communication strategy to specify what each communication is intended to achieve. So you put people into a journey with you. So not every point is about everything. Every point is only about one thing, but every point is felt.
Yeah. And I don't want to, I'll ask one more question on this. I'm trying to think this broadly, not specific to this example, but the specific example is a good one. Archbishops get lots and lots of mail. He might not even read this. His secretary might read it. And we actually are trying to be sensitive. We don't want to overwhelm the Archbishop with, like, I can imagine him saying, you just sent me a letter 3 weeks ago, lay off. Don't you know I get 100 letters a day? So I'm trying to kind of wrestle with when we're thinking of this, and we're not even sure. Some bishops will read it. Some are going to have it secretary. Some won't, even the secretary won't read it. It's just going to go into the recycle bin. So when we're thinking of like these multiple audiences, how do you recommend we think that through?
if someone is busy, they're not gonna read anything you send. They're gonna treat everything the same. So the only thing you can do is to make sure everything you send has true content in it that can build connectivity. So if they're not going to read it, their secretary is not going to read it, they're going to throw it away. Whatever you put in it is not going to matter. If only their secretary open it, the moment the secretary read it, she can feel your appreciation that is deeper than anything else that she has ever read. She's going to save it and she's going to give to the bishop. She's going to summarize it for him. You have to touch the heart that opens the letter. It's
Good,
the same.
thank you.
Yeah.
Jen, this is Andrew. We do a lot of direct response, so email marketing and direct response marketing. And one of the things that we found, and we've actually A/B tested this with letter length. So everything we've been talking about is to truncate and scale things down, get right to the point, and all that. But we've also found that the a 4-page letter works better than a 2-page letter. And
some organizations did find that kind of length matters, but it is also about the distribution within the 4 pages.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be this kind of 4-page. It can be this kind of 4-page.
Okay. And I guess, and if it's well written and is thankful and appreciative, then people will they'll read 8 to 12 pages if they're being praised.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Totally agree with the one action to ask and trying to focus any kind of communication piece on one goal, whether to sign up for an event, save the date, ask amount. With dealing with remits and ask amount and ask arrays, do you have any research that shows, having, multiple ask amounts compared to just one ask amount in a letter? If you're asking someone for 25, 50, 100, if it's better just to ask for one number or ask for multiple numbers. It's something that we keep trying to figure out what's the best approach to having a successful ask array.
So in email communications, the best thing to do is just click one button. Don't bother people choosing the amount in the email itself. Let's donate now. That is the best way to get the highest click-through rate. Now, and then once people click through, once they come to your website, ideally the first thing they see is monthly giving, not a choice between monthly giving or cash. So they go to monthly giving already. And there is when you need to give people options. There you give people between 2 and 3 options and potentially have an other box, but no more than that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I would also say that when you have the email and you have only one donate button, the minute people click on that button, when they're on the page, now they need to make a donation, thank them for clicking through first. So there's an interaction there to show your appreciation already, and then you get higher conversion. Any other questions? Awesome. We're bang on 90 minutes. So thank you very much for your participation. It's a pleasure meeting you all. And I hope you'll have fun applying it.
Thanks.
Jen, this has been great. Thank you.
About 2 weeks before the next session, is there anything that would be useful for this group to be doing that could make that second session all the more fruitful as we spend our time with you?
Yeah, I mean, if everybody wanted to work on a couple pieces of writing, like by applying whatever we learned this time, I'm happy if they can submit it to me a week before our next session. We'll take a look and use them as examples.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, absolutely. thank you very much. I will see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Jen, have a
thank
great
you.
weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.